Hello beautiful people, welcome back to the channel. Pots and Petals here, everything garden and allotment related. As you can tell, it's an absolutely beautiful day today. The sun is shining, we've got blue skies, but there is certainly a nip in the air. So when I first woke up this morning, I think it was only 5 or 6 degrees. So we seem to have really entered into autumn here in the UK. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to harvest all of the chilies. We haven't got that many to be fair, and I also want to take home the squash just in case we do get a really early frost. Now, if you remember last week, I gave you guys an email address in case you wanted to reach out to me, but unfortunately it don't seem to have worked. However, me and Ali have tested the new one over at Rusty Garden, and this one seems to have worked. So the new email address is arthurs.pots.petals@outlook.com. So that's arthurs.pots.petals@outlook.com. I will just pop that down here at the bottom, and I'll also stick it in the description in case you guys do want to reach out to me. I haven't been able to get down here this morning, so it's about 12 o'clock, so we've got 3 to 4 hours down here, and I would like to try and focus on the asparagus bed today. So we don't plant that until the April time, but it needs a really good weed, and I also want to give it a real good mulch with some compost that I've bought. I've also got loads of bulbs that I really need to think about getting in the ground soon. So we're going to plant up a container today, and we're going to do a bulb lasagna. So I'll show you what that means and how we do that a little bit later on. I'm sure there'll be some other little bits and bobs that we can crack on with today, and then tomorrow is going to be the October plot tour, so keep your eyes out for that video tomorrow. But before we do anything, I think I'm going to make myself a nice cup of coffee, warm up a little bit, and then we can start in the asparagus bed. So come on guys, let's get cracking. So I'm planning on using this bed for my asparagus next year. It's going to be a first for me. I've never grown asparagus, but we won't need to worry about planting the crowns out until April time. But as you can see, we've got too many weeds in here at the moment. Most of it is grass and a few dandelion type plants, but we've also got the lettuce which has gone to seed already, and also this rather cute looking sunflower at the end. So we're going to give this a real good weed over today, and then I am going to mulch it with some brought compost. I haven't yet turned my own homemade compost yet, so I have brought a few bags, and that's just going to protect the soil and the nutrients that are already there, and this compost is full of nutrients itself, so it's just going to add to the soil. The good thing about asparagus is once it's planted, it will look after this bed for a good 10 to 20 years, so it's not something that I've got to keep thinking about what I'm going to plant year on year. When it comes to April, we'll go through some different varieties and see which ones I'll pick, but we just want to get this bed nice and tidy for winter because it's just been full of weeds for absolutely months. Now I'm going to leave this little foxglove in here. He's a self-seeder, but he's going to remind me that I need to pot up the ones in the polyhouse soon. When I pot them up, I might move this guy to somewhere a little bit better than the asparagus bed. Now Hospital Corner doesn't seem to be getting much light nowadays, now that that sun has started to dip in the sky, so we're going to move these little chaps to outside the polyhouse. From where I've moved everything from Hospital Corner, it's looking a little bit of a mess now, so I think I better give this a tidy up and then we'll start on the bulb planter. Okay, so let's start with the bulb lasagna. Now all you're going to need is some spring bulbs, some compost and a large container. Now I'm going all tulips, but you could use daffodils, hyacinths, alliums for later flowers, crocuses and quite a few more, but any string bulbs will work. Now I'm going to be using some clashy colours with some purples, oranges and yellows. You can see all the bulbs that I have for this year in a video from a few weeks back for a little bit more detail. So for this planter, I'm going to be using the flashy orange of the ballerina with the burning orange and yellow of the muscodede. Now ballerina is scented whilst the muscodede has got a variegated foliage. And to clash with these, I've got one of the peony tulips, which is a deep purple, and this is called Alison Bradley, with those beautiful double blooms. Now I've paired this with the two-tone chassanet, with a similar dark purple, but it's got that streak of white, and that should pop amongst all of this colour. So to start, we're just going to fill the container with a few inches of compost, and you want to try and plant the larger bulbs towards the bottom of the pot and the smaller bulbs closer to the top. Once we've filled it, we're just going to line the bottom with our first layer of bulbs. Once these are planted up, you can then add another layer of compost just to cover the ones that you've just planted, and then we're going to be adding a second layer of bulbs just on top of here. So for these are the ballerina. All you've got to do is keep repeating this pattern up until you've got about 5 inches from the top of the pot. Once you reach your last layer, you just want to cover these bulbs with about 4 inches of compost and leave a good inch gap at the top just to help you with your watering. So you might be thinking it's looking rather bland at the moment and we're going to have to wait a long time. So what you can do is you can buy some violas or some winter flowering pansies just to stick on top until we start seeing them pop up in the springtime. There we have it, that is our bulb lasagna all planted up, and then we've got some pansies on top just to add a little bit of colour for over the winter time. I'm just going to give this a water and find a nice sunny spot for this, and this will be absolutely fine left on its own. Now if we do get a real dry spell throughout the autumn, you might need to give these a water, but honestly they should be absolutely fine left to their own devices. So I found these old little pots, so I'm going to plant these up with some tulips. Now because they're quite small, I am going to use the smaller tulip bulbs in here, so they don't grow any bigger than sort of 4 inches up to 12 inches. So I've got 3 varieties. We've got Cape Cod, which is this two-tone yellow and red, and they're really vibrant colours, but they only grow to 12 inches tall. Next up we've got Little Beauty, only 4 inches tall, so quite small, but just look at that gorgeous blue centre in the middle there. And just how it blends into that fuchsia pink, it's absolutely stunning. So I want this somewhere where I can see it really easily, not in the beds. And then finally we've got Water Lily. This only grows to 8 inches tall, and we've got a mixture of that red, the whitey cream, but also a little bit of orange just down towards the stem. I'm going to plant up Little Beauty on their own just because they're so stunning, so I think I'll put them into the smallest pot, and then Cape Cod and Water Lily, I'm going to do a mix of those. So I haven't got much film left on my phone. I need to go home and transfer some data, but I couldn't leave without showing you this little beauty. So the cosmos has finally opened, and just look how big and beautiful that bloom is. It's a little bit windy, but it's absolutely stunning, and we've still got plenty of buds to come. So that's all we've got time for today, folks. Like I say, I'm running out of memory on the phone, so I need to be quick. I did want to get a few more tulips into some pots, but we've run out of time today, so we'll try and do that tomorrow and get a few other little jobs done down here as well. And I am thinking about doing the October plot tour tomorrow, so do stay tuned for that. But in the meantime, guys, don't forget to subscribe, like, comment, all of that good stuff, and I'll see you down here tomorrow for another adventure down on the plot. So take care, guys, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.